In a few days, I'm going to have my 2 year anniversary for being in Korea. And I want to talk about a few things I've come to learn, as well as the hardships of living here. Days it's going to be my 2 year anniversary, and so much has changed. I mean, living in another country really messes up your mind. You know, everything you believe when you move to another country is just challenged by pretty much everything. I kind of grew up with the whole idea that Americans are very open-minded people, and then you come to Korea and you find out that most Americans really aren't open-minded at all. Whenever my American friends are introduced to a new idea that's completely different from what they believe, they reject it almost immediately and sometimes even start arguing. And you even see this a lot, like on YouTube. Like, you know, that dog meat video that I posted, like a lot of people are pissed off. Like, I don't know if I would have been one of those kind of people before, but what coming here has really opened my mind to really trying to accept different points of views that are not within the American norm. And I think people think Americans are more open-minded because our values are different. But really, I've come to learn that's not really being open. It's just a different way of doing things. So it's just a different culture, and it kind of conflicts. Well, American thinking really conflicts a lot with what you do living abroad. What one thinks they are in the States, like you think you're a really good open-minded vegan or animal activist or whatever person, and then you travel outside America and you realize you're not that at all. And I found out that I was like that also. When I first came to Korea, I was intrigued by pretty much the superficial stuff, you know, the stuff you learn when you're here for like a week. Oh, people in the countryside eat dogs, and cars and motorcycles driving on the sidewalks, blah blah. But you know, after being here, I just kind of realized, even when I was making the video, that really they are just animals, and the way dogs are killed and treated is really not that much different from the way Americans treat millions and millions of cattle and chickens in little 1 inch cage, 1 foot cages or whatever. So really, that's kind of eye opening to myself. Uh, Another thing really is the way I view music. Like, I know a lot of you guys probably like K-pop, and I don't know where people get the idea that I don't like K-pop. Or actually, I don't hate K-pop, but I don't like it either. But it's not in a negative sense. It's more like it's just not what I prefer to listen to. You know, I prefer listening to like other stuff like funk or disco or old stuff, classic metal. I come from the ideas that a person should build himself up, should write his own music, should compose, and like he becomes his own star. And the whole idea of companies investing millions of dollars or for like 4 or 5 years and just pumping out stars to hopefully hit just one and then make profit off that one group that just happened to blindly hit. That was really messed up to me. But now, the way I see it is not through the company, but the individuals themselves who gave up their lives for like 5 years and who eat like one potato a day just to stay thin, and they do deserve what they work for. Now that I think about it, you know. And then there's the issue of plastic surgery, which of course is one of those superficial things. You know, you come here and then you notice everywhere, and you do kind of notice that everyone does kind of get the same plastic surgery and the same look. But anyways, once you realize how much pressure people have here to look good or to get that job, to get married, even to get to a university, then if you want like the best for your life and for your family, then yeah, you know, you want to keep up with the competition. So really, there's no judging from my part, but it's still kind of messed up to me a little. But I do understand it a bit more. And then there's other things like just by definitions, like when I first came to Korea, I thought it was going to be a conservative country, but to me, it didn't really appear conservative at all in the American sense. You know, my idea of what conservative is like sexual attitudes and really dating and that kind of stuff. That's what I was thinking about when I was thinking conservative attitudes. But now I see it differently and actually do see Korea as a very conservative country, but not in the same American sense, like, you know, friends going out, drinking, getting smashed, and all that kind of stuff. The way I see conservatism now is really Koreans try to maintain some of their values, at least outside of Seoul. Seoul is not Korea. Seoul is like a completely different thing. But the way I see people try to maintain the status quo and the rate of change, because even though a city changes really fast, the people's attitude does not change. Like homosexuality is pretty much still very much looked down upon. Marriage out of having kids out of wedding, out of marriage, and kind of socializing with people you don't know, and those things that are very Korean, that are very, very slow to change, that's very conservative stuff. A society as a whole, like the whole opinions on social issues and all that, those are very much, a lot has happened in my absence from home. Uh, People have died. I've had two, my grandpa and my uncle have died, and people have been born, people have been married and graduating. So not being there is one of the really the hardest things, because you know you can't be there through the good times or through the bad times. And it was really stressful for me, especially this last winter, when like people were just, my family was losing their jobs and there was no money. I had to send money home. My grandpa had died, and all the stress from work just kind of like built up inside me, and I really went through a kind of depression for like until pretty much April. When people talk about culture shock, they talk about like a whole different phases that you go through. I didn't think I was gonna go through them, but I did, and they just kind of took much longer than I expected. So living in a country for like a year, 2 years is much different than coming here for like 2 weeks or 1 week. It really starts to affect everything about you. I mean, there was even a period in my time when I used to think of Korea, why can't they do things like us? You know, that was the mentality. But now it's more like it's kind of switched. It's like, why can't Americans do things the same way Koreans do things? Like they do things, some things are much more efficient, but other things are just kind of like, you know, whatever. But it kind of goes like a dance between back and forth. And really, another thing that I noticed a change within myself was like, or the way I interpreted media before coming to Korea and Japan. I would read online and blog posts, and like even I watch videos from other YouTubers, and they just post all this crazy shit, which you know I can't do myself because it's there. It's not imaginary. It's real. But they make Asia or Japan, Taiwan look like a really the place sometimes. You know, like really, really weird shit, really different things. And that's what I would think. Well, or I want to be in the middle of all that. You know, it sounds really awesome. But then I moved abroad, and the news I see from the States, now it's like, man, America's so fed up, you know, like all the news and cases and shootings, and you really see America through a different perspective. And just things like I remember watching the news where politicians decided that pizza is now considered like a vegetable or tomato just to fulfill that requirement and not have to pay extra. And really, that's the kind of stuff that I would have read before about Asia or Japan or Korea when I was abroad. And then I moved abroad, and now I'm the one reading that kind of crazy shit about America. So it's kind of funny how everything changes when you live abroad. And really, who I thought I was, you know, I thought I was an open-minded individual and I could handle all these things. And it turned out I wasn't. Far from it. And yeah, if you guys want to experience that, you should live abroad. And really makes me consider a lot when I see a lot of, well, with the exclusion of you guys, people who just like kind of troll the comment section, and they really have no idea what they're talking about. So